صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك المعصومين المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي أبا عبد الله، يا غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. غريب كربلاء، غريب كربلاء. Let the Imam hear you. Estranged on the land of Karbala, estranged on the land of Karbala, Madloom Karbala, Madloom Karbala. All together. Madloom Karbala, oppressed on the land of Karbala, oppressed on the land of Karbala, oppressed on the land of Karbala. Shaheed Karbala, Shaheed Karbala, martyred on the land of Karbala, martyred on the land of Karbala. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم وقوله الحق. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the chapter of Al-Asr, and what he says is the truth. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Allah swears by time, he says, surely man is in a state of loss. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, except those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do good deeds, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And those are the ones that collectively remind each other of the truth and collectively give each other patience. صدق الله العلي العظيم. آمنا بالله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Our goal in this night is to talk about a very important topic, a topic that is at the crux of our very being, a topic that has to do with how we see things and why it is that we see things the way that we see them. Now, we all know that two people might not see eye to eye on certain things. And there are always reasons for that, right? I know, for example, that when I talk to my parents, sometimes they don't understand me. Sometimes they don't see my point of view. And they may also feel the same way. Why does that happen? And how is it that I can see the reality of things and understand the truth behind things? In order to tackle this important topic, we're going to look at it from three perspectives: the logical, the academic, and the Islamic perspective. Now, in the logical perspective, I know for a fact that when I myself am thinking to myself about certain things, I understand myself. I understand, what it is that I like, what it is that I don't like. And sometimes when I'm dealing with my siblings, I tend to get aggravated and I tend to get angry. And that may happen also between a parent and a child. I have certain expectations that they understand me, right? That's one of the things that should happen automatically. This happens very common when a father is trying to teach his son something, or a mother is trying to teach her daughter or her son, or a father is trying to teach a daughter as well. I don't want to be genderist, so I'm including the daughters and the sons, okay? So all too often what happens is if the child doesn't learn quickly, the father thinks that there must be something wrong with the son, not something wrong with how he's explaining things, right? And this often is actually an incorrect assumption, because my goal must be to be understood by the other person, right? So, how can I focus on having the other person understand me? Now, logically speaking, I have to speak their language. I have to understand what are the things that they like, what are the things that appeal to them, and I must relay the information in a kind and merciful fashion. And I know that because Allah Almighty, what He does is He provides me everything that I need, right? I know that part of Tawheed is to understand the fact that Allah Almighty truly wants me to know things and to know the reality of all things. He wants me to realize the value of all things, right? And He wants me to act in turn accordingly, right? And so that means then that how I look at other people is not going to be from my own mind's eye. It has to be that I look at myself and how my communication is effective or not based on how they see me and how they perceive me. Perception, after all, is an important part of our daily lives, right? Now, when I study, I perceive to understand certain concepts in a specific manner. When somebody talks to me, I have certain perceptions that are based on preconceived notions. In reality, what we're saying here is that in order for me to be able to see the world properly, I have to be able to not only see the world through my own lens, but also see the world through everybody else's lens. And just like my eye, or both of my eyes, can either be myopic, right, meaning that I'm nearsighted, or I could be long-sighted, then I could be the same in how I perceive things as well. My internal vision can really be the same. So how is it that I can fix my vision, my internal vision, so that it's 2020, right? This is very important for me to understand, because then I'll be able to realize not only the reality of those around me, what I'm doing and what I'm valuing really has that value that I believe it has. Let's say, for example, I do a good deed, right? And what ends up happening, it ends up blowing up in my face. Why? Because I started out thinking that my heart was in the right place and my actions, I wanted them to follow, but what ended up happening is either I slacked off or something else happened that caused me not to deliver the way that I wanted to deliver. And why does that happen? That happens for several reasons. One of the reasons has to do with my own self-control and my own understanding of myself. Now, in the first series and in the second series that we went through, we learned about Tawheed and proving Allah's existence and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unlimited. And that became the reference point for every single part of our lives. And we said that since He created us and He's all perfect, then that means that we have true worth, right? And that I don't look for my worth from anybody else. I look for my worth from my Creator Himself, Allah Almighty. This is an important springboard. It is the most important foundation from which I must maneuver. Okay? Why is that? That's the case because that's what I'm going to base the realities of things on. Right? And so when I want to perceive things, logically speaking, I have to perceive things through that lens. I have to perceive the reality of things through the lens of al-haq. superpowers get the contracts to rebuild these countries, and that's a lot of money. And then, not only do they take the resources, but they take the manpower and the brain power, right? And all of the intellectuals end up going to those countries and migrating. And so then that tells us that I'm not working against something that's simple, right? And it may seem that it's a tough upward battle that I may never win. But the reality is we can win. And logically speaking, we can win. How? We can win by